Hello and welcome to WCPO Lounge Acts. I'm your host, Austin Fast, and we're joined here today in the WCPO Digital Lounge with the Wood Brothers out of Nashville. And so we have next to me, we have Chris Wood on the upright bass, Oliver Wood playing guitar, and then in the back, Jano Rix, right? And drummer. Yes. Yep. And multi-instrumentalist is what I saw that somewhere on your bio.
Yep. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like all of you are multi-instrumentalists. You have a harmonica here strapped around your neck.
Well, multitaskers.
Exactly. I mean, you got to do that from time to time. So without any more ado, we're going to get straight to the music. So our first song we have is Chocolate on My Tongue, and then we're going to hear Keep Me Around. So this is the Wood Brothers for WCPO Lounge Acts.
Sitting on the front porch, ice cream in my hand, and melting in the sun, all that chocolate on my tongue. And that's good enough reason to live, good enough reason to live. We're sitting in the bathtub, hi-fi playing low, digging old Al Green. Well, you must know what I mean. And that's good enough reason to live, good enough reason to live. If I die young, at least I got some chocolate on my tongue. And if I got some chocolate on my tongue. Sitting on the front seat, good girl in my arms, smiling in my eyes, getting me all hypnotized. And that's good enough reason to live, good enough reason to live. Yeah, that's good enough reason to live, good enough reason to live. I got some chocolate on my tongue. And if I die young, yeah, at least I got some chocolate on my tongue. And if I die young, at least I got some chocolate on my tongue.
Thank you.
place. I go in early and I come home late. And one thing I never forget is a face. And you keep me around. You keep me around. Although I'm sad, I'm not getting away. You sit and you wonder how long I'm gonna stay, while I show you the rainbow in all shades of gray. And you keep me around. You keep me around. Although I'm fake and I might be blind, but I'm the one's gonna keep towing the line, and you land in your feet almost every time. And you keep me around. Keep me around. You keep me around. You keep me around. Well, sad and lonely, they go and come. You think you don't need them, but you gotta have some. Try asking the dark where the light comes from. Although I'm fake, and I might be blind, but I'm the one's gonna keep towing the line, and you land in your feet almost every time. And you keep me around. Keep me around. Yeah, you keep me around. Yeah, you keep me around. Yeah, you keep me around. Keep me around. Keep me around. You keep me around. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for coming in. All right, for those of you who just joined us on Facebook Live, you're listening to the Wood Brothers. We just heard Keep Me Around, and before that, they played Chocolate on My Tongue. And I mean, I think the audience here are WCPO staffers who got to come here. They're having a good time. I saw heads bopping, people smiling. I mean, you just can't help but feel good.
That's not just like coffee and donuts.
It could be that too with the
Talking.
all-you-can-drink coffee that we get here from WCPO. But I gotta say, you all kind of lived up to the multi-instrumentalist. I mean, especially with the harmonica, you were kind of ripping on that at the beginning of that and throughout. So, I mean, I personally am just amazed, since I can barely, walk down the street and check my phone at the same time, and you guys are doing all that together. So maybe I sound really earnest there, but I'm impressed.
I was checking my email while I was doing all that.
What were you doing back there? You were multitasking as well? You make it look easy.
I wasn't paying any attention at all.
You guys just make it look easy. That's awesome.
Practicing salsa dancing.
There you go. Multitasking. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about you guys as a band. I mean, you guys have been playing music for a long time.
Are you saying we're old?
Not saying you're old. No.
Okay.
Just you've been playing. You're experienced.
Yes. Seasoned.
Seasoned. Whatever phrase you want. Ripe. That works too.
Definitely ripe today.
But you guys, Chris and Oliver, I mean, you're brothers, so you've known each other for a really long time, and you got your start. What I understand, with your dad was a musician as well as a molecular biologist.
Correct. That's right.
Which I don't even know quite what that is.
I don't know what that is. We don't know what that is.
Yeah, I was wondering if you did. But can you talk a little bit about your dad and how that influenced your life as young musicians?
Well, he was our first influence. It was our first exposure to live music. Mm-hmm. He was he did become a molecular biologist. He could have become a musician in the early 50s or late 50s. He was at Harvard and that whole Cambridge folk scene. Mm-hmm. And he had his own radio show, and he was doing some shows with Joan Baez. He was friends with her, and just playing a lot of that folk repertoire. And we ended up hearing that in the house as growing up, him playing, at functions, at like gatherings. He would get the guitar out and entertain people and play a lot of classic folk stuff. And I think it was a big influence on us. We didn't think it was at the time. We didn't know. It was just Dad doing his thing. But as we started the Wood Brothers and looked back, we're like, that actually was a big influence, just sitting there staring at him playing and like, how do you do that? I think I might want to try it.
I echo the same thing. And of course, then we got into his record collection, which was also a big influence, and which was not just folk music, but had a lot of blues and rock and roll, and of course the Beatles and all that stuff. But Chris is right, just as far as, being players and seeing that early on, we took for granted at the time. And by the same token, our mom was a poet, or she passed away, but she was a writer, and we certainly took that for granted at the time too. And now we sort of do a little of both of those things.
Right. I mean, it sounds like it was in the background, from time you're real little guys.
Yeah.
Is there any one song or one thing in particular from your father that sticks out in your mind as particularly, memorable or shaped your music today?
Shaped the music.
Well, I just remember the one I used to request the most when I was a kid was called "Freight Train Blues," and it was a blues song. I think he even yodeled in it or something. And it was
the one that's on the first Dylan record.
Yeah,
exactly. Same song,
exactly. And it's something about it was like this sort of, had a hint at blues and African American music, which. Wasn't what part of our culture when we were growing up, but that's how we started digging it through the music. And I remember that song was the most, and I was like, I want to do that, because it also had cool guitar riffs. It just had an upbeat rhythm, and it was like sort of like, ooh, where did that kind of music come from? And then we went and checked out, all the blues guys like Lightning Hopkins and Howlin' Wolf and stuff like that, and see where that stuff, the pure stuff was. So.
Wow, so Freight Train Blues, is that what you said?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to have to look that one up.
That's on the first Dylan.
First Dylan record. He does a pretty ripping version of it, if I remember right.
Yeah,
ripping upbeat.
Awesome. I know what I'm going to do after this, then I'll be checking that out. So you guys, you didn't add yodeling into any of your songs yet? Is that coming up in the future, maybe?
Well, there is a push for it. Actually, our dad, now he's retired, but he's writing angry protest songs, and he's got a new one now that has some yodeling in it. He's kind of wanting us to cover it. I don't know if you talked to him about that, but
you looked like you want. I was waiting.
We're just going to have to take that up among ourselves.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, we'll leave that for later then.
No yodeling yet.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that one then in the future. Then let's kind of fast forward from back when you were growing up to it was just a little more than 10 years ago in 2006. I think you put out your first record together as the Wood Brothers, and you'd been doing a lot of other stuff. You in other groups, I think. Medeski, Martin and Wood. Mm-hmm. King Johnson.
King Johnson and Tinsley Ellis. Those were sort of my...
So you had all these things going on. How did you guys, first of all, I can't believe it took that long for, guys who'd grown up together to get together. But how did that actually happen that you came together?
Well, we ended up, it took a long time because we both just started pursuing our own careers, and we went to different parts of the country. I ended up in New York City, and Oliver ended up in Atlanta. And, our parents weren't musicians by profession, so we had no roadmap. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just following our hearts and focusing on that, not really looking up for many, many years. And but when we finally did, and we were middle-aged and both had the same job, and we thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to try something together. Mm-hmm. And I think the real turning point was when our bands actually did a double bill together, and Oliver sat in with Medeski, Martin, and Wood, and it felt very natural and inspiring. And that was kind of the beginning, you know.
Right. It just kind of felt right. I mean, had you been in touch throughout? Like, what was your relationship through that time?
We had been in touch, but we sort of grew apart. We were just in different parts of the country, different scenes, and we just sort of grew apart.
Doing your own thing.
Definitely musically, but even as brothers, we weren't that tight. So this is the thing that sort of brought us back together. So once we did that, we're like, whoa, we can both do this. Let's do it together sometimes, at least sometimes. And it started to be every time after a while.
Oh, nice. And then how did Jano? You're not a brother unless you've been holding out on us.
He's a spiritual brother.
Spiritual brother. How did you get added into the mix then?
You know, just being on the road, I was playing with another artist, and I was actually a huge Wood Brothers fan and Medeski Martin Wood fan. Mm-hmm. But I just met these guys, and they got to hear me play, and then hung out with them. I got a call.
They must have liked you enough to keep you around then.
Worked out.
Scooped him up.
Well, we're glad that he did come on as the drummer, multi-instrumentalist, and that's awesome. You put out a live album just this, I think, January. But before that, your last album was Paradise, which I really love the artwork that you have on that album. You know, it's if you haven't seen it, it's a donkey with a carrot dangled in front of it. You know, like kind of like the Bugs Bunny thing. You know, to keep someone just keeps going forward. What was the inspiration? You know, why did you choose that as the album art?
I think we were looking for a theme. We found a theme in the music that, and Paradise, the title, sort of is an ambiguous, simple one-word thing, as is that picture. But we found a theme throughout the album of just sort of longing and I don't know what else, just things that were the illusion of paradise. Or maybe you already have it and it's right in front of you and you don't know, or you know, you're always searching. The grass is always greener. There's all kinds of things that sort of kept popping up in all these songs that sort of made it make sense that means, in a weird way, paradise. You've got it right there. Gotcha. You might not be able to actually get your hands on it, but at least you can see it. You got something to
grab it.
Something to strive for. There. Yeah.
Was there some situation in your life that, you know, this was kind of referring to you for you guys, or was it just in general? Or?
Pretty much every situation in our lives seemed to fall into that theme one way or another.
And probably everybody's lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's pretty universal, yeah.
Gotcha.
Everyone's searching for that thing around the corner that's going to make everything okay.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of things were going on in your life at that time period, a couple years back when you were writing this, that you felt it was just out of reach?
I mean, when I say everything, I really mean it. It's just a state of mind, you know. It's that thing of not appreciating what's happening right now, but always thinking salvation's always later or somewhere else instead of right here, right now. Yeah. So it really applies to any.
What was not consciously thought of while we were writing. We weren't writing the album and saying, "Oh, album's going to be about this." It just happened to be, you know. So a lot of these things are subconscious. And I'm sure we draw from our entire lives, not just the time that we wrote the songs. And some of the songs are from different eras of our writing experience. So I think it's just one of those things that subconsciously happened, and you know, you could string it together. It's kind of like astrology, though. It's like you could string it together and make it pretty cool. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, and some of them are coming from real personal things, and some of them are about observing this country we live in, and just some of the attitudes and about that, and about always wanting something more, and and everyone's searching for paradise in one way or another.
Very true.
Very, very few are finding it.
You recorded that album, I think, at Dan Auerbach's new studio that he has down there in Nashville. Did you work with him at all, or?
No, we produced it ourselves.
Gotcha.
But his studio was great. He basically created this cool little studio that's kind of, for us, reminiscent of like Sun Studios, a classic studio in Memphis, and Sam Phillips and that stuff. So it had that feel to it, and I think that was somewhat what he was going for, you know. And we had a great engineer, Colin Dupuis, that works with Dan a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just curious, you know, because he's a Buckeye from up in Akron.
Oh,
so,
right. Yeah.
You know, so I just, you know, had a little bit of a local tie there. I was wondering about. So we'll look forward to seeing more from out of that studio then. What about your collaboration with Medeski Trucks Band? How did you guys, you know, first get started with them and going on this, I think, Wheels of Soul tour is what it's called now?
Right. Well, we've done some touring with them before. And actually, from my Atlanta days, my Georgia days, I go back to them since they were like teenagers. Like I knew them when they were teenagers, and I used to play with a guy named Tinsley Ellison, and he was sort of my first road gig, and I met Derek through him, and I met Susan through him, and they were both already really accomplished musicians, and and we've just always been in touch over the years, and then in the last few years, we've just cross-pollinated whenever we get a chance. So.
I mean, you've played with them before, or is this the first time? That
No, we've played shows with them before this tour, just sporadically, but this is the first, like, a long tour.
Extended period of time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And Oliver's been writing with them. And
yeah, I've done a little bit of stuff on some of their records, just collaborated on some songs and stuff like that. So.
Very cool.
I remember seeing Derek when he was 12 years old with
Yeah.
Medeski, Martin, and Wood. We'd be down in Atlanta and go to some club, and kid out there just playing
Little kid with a baseball cap, that big.
incredible guitar, and surrounded by a lot of older people in the band who were playing okay, but he was playing incredible. He was really amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Will you guys all? Will you be playing any numbers all together tonight?
Yeah, we pretty much every night have been collaborating in some way. They've gotten up with us, and we've gotten up with them. And
Okay.
they're really into the
group.
effort.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already
I know, they're already huge.
They're
but
huge, and
they like to
everybody in
mix it
that
up.
band is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can really do anything.
Right. I mean, there's like a dozen at least of them. So, well, that'll be very cool to see tonight. So you put out your live album in January. Do you guys have another album in the works? What can we expect for you guys in the near future?
we're writing and recording new music, and going to continue doing it through the summer, and hope to have a new release by next year, early next year.
Early next year? All right, we'll keep our eyes out for that then. So we've been talking with the Wood Brothers out of Nashville. They're playing tonight here in Cincinnati at PNC Pavilion. Let's get back in your music. Next up, we're going to hear Payday, and then after that, Twisted. So this is the Wood Brothers on WCPO Lounge Acts.
No matter what I do, I can't get along with you. I'm gonna take you to your mama on payday. No matter what I say, well, I just can't find a way. I'm gonna take you to your mama on payday. Payday, payday. I'm gonna take you to your mama on payday. Got no rabbit dog, and I'd hate to see that rabbit get away. Get away, get away. But I'd hate to see that rabbit get away. Get away, get away. And I'd hate to see that rabbit get away. No matter where I go, there's always things that I don't know. But I'm gonna keep my skillet greasy if I can. And if I can, I'm gonna keep my skillet greasy if I can. And if I can, I'm gonna keep my skillet greasy if I can.
Thank you so much.
I know what it means to be twisted. I've been stuck in a carnival mirror. One time my head was so low you could have kissed it without standing on your toes, my dear. And I know what it means to be senseless. Laid my bed across the tracks without fear. Ain't it funny how a boy can be so reckless and leave his life a broken toy, my dear? Why did I dream of holding you down under the waves until your last breath fades? Why did I dream of holding you down? Who knows, 'cause I'm missing you so. And I know what it means to be lonesome, but I never thought you'd go and disappear. Well, I know I'm past the point of young and wholesome, but I was born the day I met you, my dear. Why did I dream of holding you down under the waves until your last breath fades? Why did I dream of holding you down? Who knows, 'cause I'm missing you so. I know what it means to be shameful. And I have begged for a kick in the rear. Oh, ain't it funny how a dream can be so painful? Oh, won't you tell me what it means, my dear? Why do I dream of holding you down under my pillow? I'm just weeping like a willow. Why do I dream of holding you down? Who knows, 'cause I'm missing you so. Who knows, 'cause I'm missing you so. Who knows, 'cause I'm missing you.
Thank you all very much.
All right, that was the Wood Brothers with Twisted, and before that we heard Payday. I just got to ask, Jano, what is in that container that your secrets?
Paradise.
Secrets of Paradise are in. See, he was pounding around a mystery container of something on his drums there at the end. If you were watching Facebook Live, you might have been able to see that way in the back. But anyways, there it is. There it is. We heard it. Thank you. That's all you get. You got to come tonight to PNC Pavilion if you want to see more.
I open it.
7 o'clock with Medeski Trucks Band. Hot Tuna. You hope it'll be there. Maybe if it makes it from here.
I'm saying I'm open it.
Oh, you're opening it.
It'll let you see inside.
Then all hell breaks loose.
There's a good reason to go.
Or
If
Vigo
the craft
comes out.
beer and the music and all the fun wasn't enough to get you there. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
If
Enjoyed
people want to find more of your stuff, how can they do that?
Well, thewoodbrothers.com. Put
There
the
you go.
and you got to have the, otherwise you're just buying lumber.
Don't forget that. Very important. Unless you're in the market for some.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, the Wood Bros, all that social media stuff. It's easy to find. Just type us in, and then you might find the racing car team as well, because they're quite popular.
All right, so another little bonus.
That's not us.
All right, so
Look
there
for
you
these
go.
faces.
The Wood Brothers, the guy with the big bass, the guitar, and the fancy mystery container of paradise. All right. Well, and if you like what you're hearing here on WCPO Lounge Acts, you can find more of our stuff with other great artists that are touring through Cincinnati. We're on Stitcher, Google, iTunes, all those other places you find your podcasts. Or you can check us out on WCPO.com/loungeacts. So I'm your host, Austin Fast, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.